holding the lace as you were building it. And that's why it was ratcheted, so you could move it one step further and still keep pressure on with these bobbins that were probably hanging down, I guess. Isn't that interesting? I never knew about that. Detail on this tool to the right. You can just imagine what those different little gizmos on there, what their function was. Straw hat making. These, I think, use steam presses. Various devices created from horn. Combs, for example. This would have been the equivalent of our flexible plastics. Like they were spoons and cutlery sets, also with horn. But a man might carry this on his belt and use to eat what his wife had prepared for him if he was up in the mountains working with his cows, if you will. How important these would have been to the individuals who carried them. Imagine the tasks they performed. Only someday my fantasy of being able to decipher all of that historical information in the same way that we decipher the human body's DNA, or with DNA. How magnificent would museums be? Finally, they'd be worth their price as public storage units. The detail. Notice that, I think, is a knife sharpener to the left. How clever. The bone spoons were lovely decorated. Particularly interesting is a spoon because it's two spoons in one, and it folds up. Or in this position, it's opened up and you have that little catch that you can swing to the right and it'll lock in that little hole, giving you a more rigid, typical spoon. How did they twist these bone handles? Interesting artwork on this one. And where did that white bone come from? Various kinds of snuff boxes. Is this what these people did in the wintertime? Make these things? Look at that. These don't look like snuff boxes as much as they look like powder horns for guns. Shoe horn. Letter opener. This device was designed so it could apparently come apart. These small ones, discreet lady versions. We know so little when we simply look at the remains. But imagine every morning grabbing your little snuff box, making sure it was in your pocket, the same way I have my little box, my little metal Altoid box of drugs. Feather pictures, presumably made out of, you got it, feathers. Certainly an apt way to portray a bird is using bird feathers. Sadly, the bird whose feathers were used would disagree. These are called blanket clips, whatever that means. Just belt straps. But how were they and where were they used? These are called horn holders, H-O-R-N. These are sheaths for size. Say that several times fast. Interesting that several of them are opened mouth. Did that allow for the point to stick out, which would be dangerous? Or did it allow for something to fall off of it? Cradle arches, whatever that means. So there's how those are used. These, I imagine, are canteens on the left, a milk or butter churn rather in the center, and other devices for holding water. A multitude of what I think are wooden boxes. Imagine how fragile and respected and taken care of they were versus our cardboard boxes, produced and shipped in the millions by Amazon, for example. This is called, with colossal understatement, an artistic clock. And what it really is a little teeny clock up there on top of a castle. And then these carriages and stagecoaches and men on horses revolve around the castle through that track. How clever, clever, clever is this? On the other hand, there was probably in the back there another clock mechanism, because you can see the numbers going around that circular sky area and a space at the back, if you can see that, a little gap there. It even has handles for hauling around, because my guess is it's very heavy. These are Renaissance chests and a wall cabinet. Some of this looks like it's carved relief, not really. Material inserted, inlaid. This is probably inlaid. Look at the pretty scene there. I think at the top you can see evidence of that single point perspective that was rediscovered in the Renaissance, actually slightly before. Displaying tools, if you will, of the home or farm. Simple, really. It's similar to the clock, but without any moving parts, I believe. Might well have been insignias that shop owners installed so that you see that shuttlecock there for a loom weaver. And maybe that one on the left for a bootmaker. The classic ale mugs. How many thousands of these must there have been? Like a well-developed craft, wasn't it? Huh. These were bed warmers. And of course, glassware. I can imagine these big platters being used on Game of Thrones. These were just inserts into a wall for decoration, although some may have served a function as we use toilet paper holders in the same way. But you see these sometimes on the outsides of buildings. That would work well in a corner of a building.